Streaming now live from Applied Innovation Exchange in Munich. Welcome to our first ever Startup Theatre. It's going to be a power-packed session, right from variables, smart textiles, analytics, big data, and my favorite, the 7 axillary arm, smart robot, Panda. In the house, on the other side of the experience zone, we have right now live ProGlove. We also have analytics with Anagog. And without further ado, my favorite, and from Munich, the 7 axillary arm, Franka. Presenting with us soon would be Mikhail Hibinger. He will join us in a few moments.
Hello everybody, my name is Michael. Thank you very much for the invitation. We are very proud and very happy to be here and to present our robot, and yeah, let's see what our thoughts about that is. Oh, wrong side. Okay. This is kind of the evolution where we see us. On the right side there's a blank. At the moment we are state of the art. If you all think about robots, I think the most common picture we have all is Star Wars or small little guys running around talking to you. Huh?
Iron Man.
Yeah. And yeah, but this is not the case today. At the moment there are several things we can do. There are robots for the garden. There are robots for building some machines, but at the moment they don't look like this. It is more like that. In all industry where automation is done, robots are separated. You see high walls, nobody can go in. Why is this? Robots are positioning machines until yet. They go from one point to the other and do their work, whether you are in the way or their work, the work piece. So if you are coming in there, you will get a point wherever you are. Our vision is we wanted to build a robot where the technology can be used in the future for service robots, helping human beings maybe at home. And therefore you need other technology than only position. It makes no sense if you interact with human beings, then positioning is not the way. So what are the points to come there? Integration. It's not only in the industry, there it is a very big point, that's clear. But also if you look at home base, you have to integrate it with different sensors. A robot has to hear, to see maybe, to feel temperature, to whatever. Yesterday was custom-made solutions, as we have seen before. A long time, you need months, maybe years to build an automated industry building street, production street. You need programmers, you need to build all these things, and you have to separate this, maybe in our own building. It's very complicated to do that. Until yet, you need programmers. And we all know there are many software guys, they are brilliant, but it's hard to explain them what in the real world happens. And so yeah, that's the other thing. Facilities, I guess this point is already named. you have to have a lot of space to separate the robots from the humans. And the last point, and this is one we see as most important, a lack of sensitivity. If a robot comes in your way, it could kill you or hurt you at least. You need a robot that says, okay, stop, here is a brake, I stop whatever I'm doing. And in the past, there is a emergency stop in automation production, yes, but it is bam, out. And then go to zero and start again, whatever point you are. A short video of our robot. Yes. Yeah, and it's a bit inspired by Terminator, as we have seen. But they're very peaceful, and it's really the case. So our production is close to Munich in Kempten, and we see every week is coming up a new robot to build the robot. So it's going there. It's really cool thing. So what's the history of all that stuff? What's the idea? Why did we invent this? So it's going back to the 80s. A guy named Professor Hirzinger started researching a robot with sensitivity. Why? It was the DLR, so the Aerospace Academy, and they wanted to have non-humans operating outside of the space station. And if you have a screw or a ventil or something like that, and you're working with a positioning machine, after it fits, it comes break. So you need sensitivity. If you break a screw in the space, that's not so good. Yeah, and then spin-offs with the technology, and now the commercialization, very hard word. So what's the difference and how can we get to sensitivity? We have a 7-axis robot, so that's 1 X more than the most have. and in every truck we have a sensor. And this gives us a very, very good database to work with our software on it. So we can come below 1 Newton with that. That's very, very good feeling. The next thing is affordability. We wanted to create a robot everyone can buy, and everybody can buy. And we were thinking about that from the first point on. How can we build it cheaper than others? That's also a question of how can you produce that. One thing is build it on your own. Panda, build a new Panda. Usability, it's very flexible. We have one outside, you can see that it's very flexible because everybody can teach this robot and can learn the robot to do things. It's scalable. You have seen you can create one task and send it over the world. So you have a development center in one city and a plant at the other side of the planet, no problem. And it's usually we have limited functionality. At the moment we're building up a great space where everybody can integrate its tools to this robot. So it's growing every day. Also one point, yeah, you see, don't look at the numbers too exactly, they're changing every week. But the main thing is, as the robots are getting cheaper and getting more collaborative and more flexible, the market will grow. At the moment, only the big companies can afford robots, and tomorrow, more or less, everybody can have one. One thing is, what I told you is the thing with the functionality, how to program it. It's very easy. You can teach the robot in terms of you show him what to do, and to show him how to do, you use apps. And in this, it's like a smartphone. Tap on the app, and you get questions. How fast should I go? How heavy is the weight? What should I do? It's very simple and very easy. And we can also use this technology to have a platform and to have like an administrator, like we know that from IT departments. One guy can take care of 100 or 500 robots wherever they are. Yeah, here's some solutions. We see it's testing, plugging in, so easy tasks at the moment. We are not as good as humans, but we are working on it. Yeah, one example, that's a nice story because a bakery called us and said, hey, I want a robot. I said, okay, a Panda in a bakery? What? Yeah, getting up very early at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's not my case, and I don't find people. They want it, and he wanted, to make a long story short, that the Panda gives the ingredients to the machine for making bread. And we told him, okay, we don't have software for that because it's not a special of us. And he said, okay, so I need a developer to create an app. And then if I have the app, I can sell it to the whole world. And all bakeries in the world can decide if they want a robot and sleeping 1 hour more every day. I said, yes, okay. Yeah, he wants to start, we will see. Okay, a short look at our concept. We are the producer and the vendor of this robot, and our big goal is to make him better every day. And we want to create, and we have created, a sales network with partners in many, many areas and with many, many special focuses. Because you need industry knowledge, you need to be specialized to help the people. And yeah, this is other. Here we see this developer community. This is one special point. As we offer kind of a app program, app development platform we can give out to almost everybody. The usability will grow every day. So all vendors of grippers, tools, whatever, can create the apps. Not only we have to do this, and this makes us very, very fast in developing new things. And maybe better, because other people know better other stuff. Yeah, your division, again, a world where everyone can use a robot. And hopefully we are almost there, and yeah, we are close to it. That's me. And now we can come to the Q&A.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michael. Great. We do have a few questions for you.
Okay.
So we have Steve from San Francisco asking,
Hi, Steve.
how young was the youngest person programming your robot arm? Who has been the youngest person to have programmed the robotic arm?
I don't know the exact age, but it was around 9, I guess.
Okay. Wow, that's impressive.
We had a visit of a school, and yeah, they programmed the robot. It's very easy.
All right. So Constantine, you are the youngest, okay? We have Gigi Young from Singapore asking, what is the environment the Panda is most used at currently?
It's created at its best for testing in electronic devices, plugging in, tipping on the screens. That's where you need sensitiveness, and that's what it's built for. That's the most important case for us.
Okay, so that also relates with this question coming from Ibrahim. We've not got the IP address correctly. It's either Mumbai or Pune from India. And his question is the sensory touch. Normally the robot smashed through the sensory touch.
Yeah.
So why is it so different? Why is it so different with Franca, and how does it manage the sensory touch?
Yeah, as I told, it's you need a good data. So you need these torque sensors to create sensitivity, and it's more accurate data than other robots do it with the power of the engines. That's very inaccurate, and so you can't be very exact in your reaction.
Okay. We also have a question from the room. It's Verena asking, why did he call her Franca? And is it a her?
I'm not allowed to say that.
Okay. Financial prices. Can you answer financial prices? I think it's Walker from Germany asking, what is the price and can I get it for Christmas?
Yeah, it's difficult because we don't sell a machine with all in. We sell the hardware, and then it depends on what functionality you get via software. But I guess for industry it is between 20 to 30 euros.
Okay. Okay. Maybe not my Christmas gift. We also have Marco here in the AIE right now. He wants to know, how do you prevent, this classic Marco, how do you prevent it from becoming evil? How can you avoid it so that it's not programmed to hurt?
So I'm a sales, so I cannot give an exact answer how we avoid hacking. But it's very, very safe. You can't access it if you cannot access it if you're not allowed to, and it's very, very smooth, and it has a lot of steps in security and all that kind of stuff.
The final question is from Sarah in Munich. How long does it take programming the robotic arm to pick up a ball? How quick? What's the shortest time?
I will show this, I guess it's 3 minutes.
Wow. Wow. Okay, brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
That was Michael Hebinger. Now connecting us live from Tel Aviv in Israel, we have the CEO of Anagogue, Ofer Zimmerman, and he will join us in a few moments. a quick technical check to see, are you connected with us, Offer?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Can you all hear him loud and clear?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope the weather is as lovely as it is down here. But it's over to you, Offer.
Thank you very much. When it comes to weather, you can always count on Tel Aviv. So thank you very much, everyone. So my name is Ofer Zipperman, and I'm the CEO for Anagogue. And I will try to walk you today through the exciting journey we are doing with regard to edge artificial intelligence on mobile handsets. So in fact, what we are doing, what we know to do is to run at the background of every smartphone, to collect all the raw data from all the onboard sensors, to fuse them together on the handset itself in order to understand what's the mobility status and the location of the user, and doing of that with very minimal power consumption, basically less than 1% for a full day of operation at the background, which is by far the best in the industry. We call this technology, which is coming in the form of an SDK, we call it JEDI, just to reflect the AI part of it. So in fact, we provide to our partners three components. The first one is the ability to understand the user on the handset itself, and we will discuss that. The second issue is how to collect very interesting anonymized big data. And finally, how can you use this data to drive some very interesting analytics? And I'm going to show you some interesting demonstration about that. So those are the three main components. If we will start with the mobile handset first, what is really interesting is now your mobile handset, without the need to communicate with backend server, it can understand if you are awake or asleep, if you are walking, running, biking, where did you park your car. I will even show you that it can predict events before they actually happen. And then it can also understand what's the venue, where you are. Is it home? Is it the office? When you go in, go out from these locations. So this is really becoming something very interesting from a contextual point of view. So we're very proud to be the first ones that managed to incorporate a real artificial intelligence engine on a very simple smartphone without any need for backend communication to a mainframe. So now your phone can learn you. It can then predict what you're likely to do next, and accordingly, it can engage you in a much more personal and contextual basis. So just quickly about Anagogue itself, the company is 7.5 years old. We are now 30 employees. We just concluded the round B of financing. We were lucky to have Daimler, Porsche, and other distinguished companies joining us as investors in the company. There's a lot of innovation which is happening around. We already filed 20 patents, additional 10 are in the making. So far, about 25 million downloads took place around the globe through something like 100 applications. Every day, we collect about 5 terabytes of data from all over the globe, and that translates to billions of data points every day. B2B is the way that we are going to market, and that means that applications are finding value with what we provide because we allow them to get the context of their users. And then if you understand the context of your user, you can actually provide a more engaging service because you know when to offer your service, regardless of what this service is actually all about. In the next slide, you can actually see the different domains of applications that have already implemented our solution or are in the phases of implementation. And what is interesting is that each and every one of these domains is extracting different values from being able to understand their users. We believe that privacy is probably one of the most important issues. And in fact, we see that as one of our greatest opportunities You're all probably familiar with the new European GDPR regulations, that is actually that the phone itself is capable of building your profile. So instead of your profile being built on the cloud, and you can lose control over that, like what happened to Facebook. In our case, the phone is building your cloud, the phone is building your profile, all of your personal information is on the phone and the phone is in your possession. So there's no loss of your personal information, you have full control over it. And if any information leaves the phone, it must be fully anonymized at source. Now, I will show you how applications are actually want to get consent from the user to get more personal information, but then they need to show him value. So the first thing when it comes to data is that Anagogue will not see the data of our customers. If we are licensing our technology to Daimler or to Verizon or to anybody else, we will not see the data of their customers. This is a very important part of our licensing terms. Let me show you an interesting example of end user value, why people are actually very keen to have this type of technology. So this is an interesting use case in Israel for the last 2 years in the field of on-street parking. Let's start from left to right. When you drive, your phone acted through the onboard accelerometer on the phone. Now you stop driving and you start walking. So your phone identifies that you stopped driving and started walking. It can assume that you parked your car. Still, we need to measure with machine learning on the handset that you are the driver and not the passenger. Then let's assume that you stepped into a meeting room. Your phone identified that you became stationary. And therefore, there's no point of turning on your GPS or anything like that because it will just waste your battery without signal. But as soon as you are done with the meeting, you stand up and you start walking out of the meeting room, your phone will see a change in the pattern of the Wi-Fi networks around you. And then it would say, okay, the user is on the move again. And then with the onboard barometer, it can see that you're taking the elevator down. And with the compass, it can see that you start walking back to where it knows that you left your car. What you see on the right side on the video is a recording from the live service that we deployed in Israel about 2 years ago. Every such bubble represents a parking space where the driver is now identified walking back to his car in real time. So we can now say to all the nearby drivers, go to that location, it will be free in 5 minutes. So this is a predicted event, and people are very keen to get this tip. So from experience, in many cases, when you get to the location, you see the driver approaching the car, opening the door and driving away. So this is one example out of dozens of examples. Another one is what Mercedes actually built on top of our technology to allow people to simulate how it will be to move to electric car. They can just install this simulation application, and by the end of every journey, the application would tell them if you were driving an electric vehicle, you would have consumed 8% of your car's battery in that specific journey. So now we are capable of collecting this big anonymized data from all over the globe. And in slide 15, you can see all the events that are happening in real time from all over the globe with people that already have the Anagogue SDK embedded into their phones. And you can see that this is quite impressive installation. But let me show you how 1 day of data looks like in San Francisco, for example. So we can see not only the location of people, but also their elevation. So we can see them on the different floors of the buildings. We can see them driving on the Bay Bridge. We can see them on Twin Peaks. So with only 1 day of data, we can draw a 3-dimensional map of San Francisco. This is how a great quality, quantity, and granularity of data can be achieved with this type of anonymized data. Another example is this heat map of population movement. So you can see people wake up in the morning on a Saturday in Israel. Some of them goes to the beach, some goes to the malls area. Later in the afternoon, there is a football game in this stadium. So you can say to a taxi driver, go to this location. That's the highest chance for you to get your next ride. Let me quickly go through some other explanation of what can be done with that. So business intelligence is a key element. Now with this technology, McDonald's can understand what is happening with Chick-fil-A, their competitor across the street, and vice versa, just by understanding the foot traffic into each one of these businesses. Or if we will take this aerial photo, you can see where people are parking, but we can show you the actual parking events. And then we can understand where people are walking inside the mall after they park their cars. And you can see we already have tons of data almost in any part in the world. So based on that, we developed a tool which we call Bisons for business intelligence. And this is based on a simple web browser. Let's take over here in Chicago, we selected the Taco Bell restaurants, for example. So now we are going to see a comparison between these 3 Taco Bell restaurants in Chicago within a given 1 month. You can see how many people we already see going into each and every one of them. So you can immediately understand which is the most popular. You can see what is the amount of client visits on a daily basis. What is the retention? How many people only visited once? How many 5 times and more in the last 1 month? What was the average visit duration in every business? And again, it can be any business anywhere in the world. This is why it is becoming so exciting. Where did they come from? How many live within 10 miles? And how many are coming from a longer distance? So this is a tool which almost out of the box started to give some very interesting insights. Some other stuff which is being done with that. If that woman saw an Adidas advertisement, did she go to an Adidas shop within the next 48 hours so that you can connect the online advertisement to the offline behavior? Am I right now inside a certain polygon or outside that polygon? Am I approaching and so on? A lot of features that can be understood given that. So how do we make money out of it? There are basically 5 domains that are involved: automotive, mobile operators, insurance, banking, and marketing and advertising. And very quickly, on the automotive, the idea is to understand the driver as a human being, and not only when he's in the car, so that you can give him a full mobility service even when he is not driving. You can detect a light accident when they happen with very interesting technology, again, based only on the mobile phone. For the insurance, think about it. There's so much data, and you can understand the individual user as well as the crowd. This is like a crystal ball. Now insurance companies can actually predict what is going to happen on the individual basis and on the crowd basis. Banks are now capable of understanding that you are maybe not holding your phone because they see a different change of behavior of the phone than the regular one. Or they can understand that when you swipe your credit card, your phone is not at the same location. Maybe that's a fraudulent event. So that's pretty much the solution that I wanted to show you today as kind of an end-to-end solution that starts on understanding the individual on the handset and being able to translate that to values at the back end. With that, I've done this part, and maybe if there are any questions, I'll be very happy to answer.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. That's Offer all the way from Tel Aviv, Israel. What I find amazing, Offer, is the kind of patents and you can create out of just not using sensors and using sensors on a device. and it's just flabbergasting. So we have a few questions for you here. I'm a bit confused because there are two Marcels in the AIE right now. I don't know which Marcel it came from. Okay. Which AI technologies are you using?
So this is our own developed AI technology. And the whole issue over here, the whole exercise was how can you run a full AI engine with very complicated machine learning algorithms on a very simple device without draining the end user battery. This is the reason that we had to develop everything actually based from scratch. So this is our own technology.
Okay, we also have Oliver from Berlin asking, did GDPR reduce the capabilities of Anagon?
Actually, this is one of the great examples where this kind of regulations becomes an opportunity rather than a challenge. In our case, because of this new patented technology that allows everything to happen on the handset itself, companies are now searching for this type of solution because they do not need to collect personal information out of the phone. And this is why it is not falling under the GDPR issue. GDPR only comes to the front when you are pulling personal information out of my phone to some cloud location.
Okay, great. The next question comes from Christian here in the AIE. How do you attract users? What is the incentive for signing up?
That's a great question. Actually, one of the key issues, you have to give value to end users. Me as a personal individual, to have this type of technology in my phone, I need to understand why do I need it. This is why I showed you one or two examples out of dozens of examples that if I can tell you, look, this parking space is going to be free in 5 minutes, go over there right now, most people will say, of course, what do I need to do to sign in? That's exactly the type of values that we are trying to bring to people with this type of artificial intelligence solution. And there are plenty other examples.
Absolutely. You know, at 8:45 here in the music office, you tell me if a parking space is available. Yes, I will take it. I spent 10 minutes just doing rounds on the 2 floors underneath. We also have Alan here in the AIE. He's asking, have you considered plans to introduce analog neural networks to your ecosystem, and what impact would or it might have?
So right now we started by counting only on the on-device sensors. That's the first phase of implementation. Later on, we may introduce some additional external sensors. But for now, there are so many different sensors on the handset itself that we decided to focus on that.
And the last question, it comes from Jacob in Stockholm. What is the most, this is a bit cheeky, what is the most surprising insight you got from your data analysis? And you do not have to say any dodgy places people visited, okay?
Well, I think that what struck us, to be honest, is the quantity. I think that the quantity made a huge difference. I still remember this day in the beginning of 2016 when we got, I think that at that time, we for the first time crossed the 1 million users in Israel in that case. And suddenly when we put all of this information together and we started to understand from the crowd what is happening in almost every corner of the country, we said, just by mistake, we found a gold mine. Now we started to develop the tools to dig it out. But I think that what really struck us for the first time was the ability to understand how we can classify different kind of behaviors. Just by analyzing billions of events from all over the world, now we can understand that a certain behavior of the accelerometer means walking. A slightly different one means running. A slightly different one meaning you're driving your bicycle. This understanding opened up huge amount of other features and opportunities.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Offer, for joining us all the way. Ladies and gentlemen, Offer Zimmerman, all the way from Florida. Okay, so up next is my favorite section of the startups. It's the out of the box section. And to tell us more about smart textiles and wearables, we have with us Bingning Liu from ProGlove. She'll join us in a few moments.
Good. Hi, I'm Bingning from ProGlove, and we are doing a smart glove for the industry. We are used as a production, logistics, and manufacturing. And I would like to begin with the team, because at ProGlove we are the team. And we are half from IDEO, which means design thinking and human-centered design, and half from BMW, they're building cars. So, 3 years ago, we thought about to build a wearable, and we thought about what could we do, because everybody was doing a wearable for the consumer market, and we were thinking about how about a wearable for the B2B market, how about something for the industrial sector, and we thought about it, and then we came to the manufacturing logistics at BMW. I think it's quite good, because we have a very huge market. We have 300 million workers, and all of them are looking for efficiency, for seconds, and so we just try it, so why not? We want to build this because we think we want to increase speed, ergonomic, and we think the future of the manufacturing would be data. But we believe that there is still the human worker. It is not only about machines, because we are always talking about Industry 4.0, and we are always talking about only machines. But we need somebody who is taking all the data to the machines. So the human worker will be still the interface. So therefore we created this one. We call it Mark. We call every product from our side after our ex-boyfriends and girlfriends. And that's because we love our products, but when it's over and we have something new, it's not bad. Just click it in.
How long do they last?
2 years. So we have here a trigger. I click it here and I can activate it. One moment. And if I press it like here, I get instant feedback. So I'm mobile. I don't need the manufacturing side. I don't need the screen anymore. I have here always by my side. I don't need to grab the scan pistol anymore, scan it and put it back. And one of our best champions is BMW, and they told us that they could spare up to 4 seconds per scan. And you must think about if you have a pre-assembly line and you have 1,000 scans, 1,000 cars to do per day, and then 4 seconds to spare. It's a lot of time. And with this feedback, you can't feel it, but I can show it to you later with my demo. There's a vibration, there's a light, and there's a tone. So you can also hear it. That's why I always said that's the reason why our customers love us, because of the reason of the speed, because of the feedback, we can improve the quality, and we're working on data, but in the moment we're mostly hardware. These are our 4 founders, with Brian from Intel. This is our seed found. That's how everything begins. So you can see in the moment we have 250 customers, mostly from 3 key verticals, from automotive. We have BMW, mostly everybody. At BMW we are at every assembly line in Europe. And we have warehousing with, for example, Rewe. And we have now a third one, it is the airports like Fraport or also Lufthansa Technik. Now I want to show you a small, short video about an assembly line in BMW. We're doing a lot of user videos for our customers. You can see how they work and use our products. It's completely hand-free, so you don't need to waste time to grab anything. You don't lose anything, no tools, and it's really ergonomics. By the way, it's in Munich, so if you want to visit them. Oh, I'm not finished. Not our BMW loves us. Also, Ms. Merkel loves us. She tries it at Hannover, yeah. And our goal is to become the #1 industrial wearable company worldwide. So our newest product is named Katerina.
Not a boyfriend name.
It's a girlfriend name. She leads us to worker guidance. That means she can tell us exactly where to go next. So for picking, it's really good. So if you have questions, you can ask me later, and I would like to go the journey with you to integrate the human worker to industrial IoT. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So we do have a few questions for you. KC from Philadelphia is asking, which is the most surprising environment the ProGlove is used currently?
Most surprising? I don't know. Maybe some of the workers use it to play Superman with it. Because they really like it, to do it like this and have feedback. But I think every use case is good for us.
Yes, we also have the latest version of that glove with the Spider-Man.
Yes, I have it with me. You can see it later.
It's here in the
Yes.
AIE. It's fantastic. Phil from Munich is asking, why do you not use RFID?
We could use RFID. We have also a prototype of RFID, but we are a startup, so we have to focus. And as long as our customers has no RFID need in their factories, we won't do anybody. So we are customer-centered. So if the customers don't have RFID, we don't have.
Okay, fantastic. The final question I have is Andre from somewhere in Italy. Are you going to integrate additional sensors in the glove?
You mean like positioning or etc.?
I don't know, Andre. But I would say possibly the question is, what are the other types of sensors you see a use case to put inside your glove?
I think we work with positioning now, but this would be a project to 2019. Our newest project would be Katerina, and she's in combination with the scanner.
Okay, fantastic. And we've got another question that just slid through. What are the next big projects, and how quickly has ProGlove evolved over the years?
We are now 3.5 years old, and we have 100 employees right now. And we are moving to the US market, to New York City, and yeah, I think it's a pretty great growing. Because when I started 1 year ago, we were 40 persons, and now we are 100. So I think it went pretty good.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Begni. Ladies and gentlemen, Begni from ProGlove. Okay. So for the next session, this is our knowledge nugget section, where we'll try to give you a fast-paced view of one particular topic. And to share the insights, our very own Andreas Lutz.
Thanks for being here. I will give you a knowledge nugget, a little bit more insights into blockchain. You all heard probably about Bitcoin. Maybe you heard people get rich from it. Somehow it's decentralized, but let's take two looks today. So for one, I will give you a more detailed view into how it really works. And the second is I try to help you locate it into the hype cycle. So it's not just something you know how it works, but you also know like how important is it for me, or how long is it on the market, and so on. But let's try. So before we go into blockchain, we first go to the traditional bankings. So for example, I like to send Sumit 50 euros. What do I have to do? First of all, I have to fill out something which says I want to send Sumit 50 euros. And then what I do next is I throw it into a black box. I give it to my bank. That's it. Hopefully it works. I don't know. Probably it should work. But what happens behind the scenes? So for one is I give it to my bank. First of all, probably my bank will check if I have enough balance. If it's not the end of the month, I should have. But if that's all right, everything's fine, they will send it to Sumit's bank. And they also do some checks. They will, for example, check if Sumit's at this bank, for example. If everything's all right, what I've written down, if this is fine, and so on. In the end, they also check that I do not have the 50 euros anymore, but Sumit does have it. Because the worst problem here could happen is I have 50 euros, but also Sumit does have it, so we have printed money. This should not happen, and here you see I give it to my bank, a single point of contact, and they do some stuff. It's a black box for me. But what about blockchain or Bitcoin? How does this work with blockchain? So what you need to understand is that the technology behind this, blockchain, is all about transactions. It's not about like giving a balance and so on, it's about transactions. A to B with information X. This is also what it is here. So it starts with the same thing. I want to send Sumit 50 euros. That's what I do. And the difference here is I do not go to a single point of contact and tell them I want to do this. I openly tell anybody. I openly tell all of you, like, I want to send Sumit 50 euros. That's it. You will all know. And in the end, you probably all agree, yes, he has said that. And what they do next here is that they will create a block. This is where the word blockchain comes from. And in the end, in this block, there are all transactions inside. So it's not just like I am telling I want to send Sumit 50 euros, so maybe somebody else in the room wants to send money to anybody else. They will collect all of these transactions and put it into a block. You can imagine this like it's a virtual container. You open it and you throw this transaction into it. You close it and then you seal it. That's what you do. Additionally, you will take this block and glue it onto the last block. Like there was a beginning, like first block with like the first transaction ever, and every next transaction will be glued onto this transaction. It's not about amounts, not balances and so on, it's about transactions. So there are two things different here. So the one thing is, it's not a secret anymore. It's not a secret I tell my bank. I tell my bank like, I want to send this guy X amount. I tell all of you. And you all can agree on that I have said this, hopefully. The second thing is, it is glued to a chain. You can go back in time. It's not that like it's a single record of information or transaction like you have, for example, at your bank, like where you have this record, it says X amount from A to B. You have all of the transactions, all of them. Like you can go back in time, back to zero, and can roll it up. And you can see like what happened from where to where. This is what is really different. And this is also what changes with this technology. It moves the trust away from the intermediary, like for example the bank. The bank is this big thing in the middle. You have to trust that everything works fine. it moves it away into technology. So you have not a business partner in the middle you have to trust, you have not like a bank in the middle, you have not something in the middle you have to trust, and you have to say, well, do this and that for me, because like in the end it should work. You trust the technology, you trust the rules you have all agreed on. And this is something which really changes it. It's nothing in the middle anymore, it is really something new. I give you another example. For example, let's go back maybe a few 100,000 years ago. So I am maybe a berry collector. I live in my live with my families, and I collect berries. But the thing is, with collecting berries, I cannot build my house. But maybe I want to build my house, and maybe I also want to eat fish. But by collecting berries all the day, I cannot do this. So what I have to do, I have to go to the fisher and say, well, I want to eat fish as well, and I need to change this. So I give you X berries, you give me Y fish. But there's a problem with that. It works when you have like all the people around yourself, and you can somehow walk to them and exchange all of this. But as the distance grows, it gets complicated. For example, if you look on your account at your bank and see all the transactions going on, just think about like you have to go to all of these people, like you have to walk there or drive them. You have to collect your salary maybe by the end of the month in Munich, even if you live in Berlin. That's something, it's not possible anymore. So, and then something that today's situation embraced. It's centralized and virtualized. Today with banks. And you can sit in your home, you can get money, you can send money, and you don't have to take care of it, because like they will take care of it. The people 100 miles away, they will get the money, or you will get their money. This is today's situation. The problem here is it is all centralized. You need to trust. It's not efficient. What do I mean with not efficient? Maybe you have you ever tried sending money to the US? In euros, 30 euros, when it costs 30 euros, it's not really something new. So when you want to send maybe 10 euros to a friend in the US and pay extra 30 euros, it's somehow not working out. So it's about the volume, and it takes time, it takes days, maybe weeks. And maybe you don't trust also. When I want to send some money to a bank in Zimbabwe, maybe I need some more trust. Maybe it's a better idea that you have the power. It's not like something in the middle, something centralized, you have the power. So all of you have all the information all the time, and you take full control. And this is what blockchain is all about. So all of the people are talking about blockchain, but why am I not seeing it everywhere? Why is not everyone using blockchain? The thing is, it's new. It's really, really, really new. So, for example, there are only a few experts. If you want to build new blockchain applications, it's really complicated, and you need experts for that. Another thing is, it's really immature. It's a kind of a database. If you look at, for example, MySQL, it is, I think, 20 years old, I don't know. They like optimize it and optimize it and optimize it all the time. And it's now very mature and you can work with it. But like, for how long have you seen blockchain here? Not for that long. Also, you need to agree on a protocol. Like, what is right? How does it work? Like, you set your trust into the technology. You do not trust the partner. You can negotiate too. You can set it into the technology. And with technology, it's not something like you can negotiate to the technology. There are rules, and you need to agree on them. And if you have agreed on them, you will follow the rules as well, all the time. It's very strict. Additionally, law, government, commitment. Maybe you need some laws. Maybe you need some regulation. Because like when you, for example, look at the stock market, you also have some rules from the government. There's some rules everybody agreed on because they are somehow beneficial. But mostly there are no rules for blockchain or for Bitcoin. Maybe you need some more rules, but there's no commitment at the time. Security is always a good point, and also the digital identity, like who is this using? Like, is it really you? Is it somebody else? Is it Sumit? Is it not? Like, who I'm sending money to? But what I also want to give you is not just how it works, but also like to locate it better into the hype cycle. Maybe you have seen this. This is the Gartner hype cycle for emerging technologies. It's from 2017, but I think we don't have the 2018 one. So if you see on this, we just like moved across the peak of inflated expectations. And we're on our way down to the trough of disillusion. We're on our way. Next will be the slope of enlightenment, and in the end, it's the plateau of productivity. And it takes, Gartner says it takes 5 to 10 more years. So it's not just that like tomorrow you see blockchain or distributed ledger technologies everywhere. It takes time. It needs to grow, it needs to be more mature. And this is something, you don't have to be scared, but maybe think about. Like, it's not that you have to do everything today and it should work tomorrow. You have more time, and it will grow and it will be more mature. And what all of the people are telling you or have told you, like Bitcoin, you will get rich, invest in Bitcoin. It's the greatest technology you have ever heard of. It will change the world. Everything you have heard of. It will totally revolutionize the technologies, which is fine for now, but just be realistic. What is also interesting is like blockchain, Bitcoin. Blockchain is a technology for Bitcoin, but blockchain, there are also some more frameworks. Blockchain is a framework. Those are called distributed ledger technologies. You have also maybe heard about Ripple, maybe about Ethereum, maybe about some more. There are different kind of frameworks and technologies here. And Gartner just had a look on like which will be like the best one in the long run, because we're right at the beginning of this movement, but like in the end, where will we land? And there are 4 key findings, and one will be, if history is a guide, it is likely that the dominant platform of the long term will be the one that has not yet entered the market. This was from March 2017. March 2017, if I remember it right, we had Bitcoin, we had Ethereum, we had Ripple. Like all of this dominant platform. Gartner is telling you like it will not be the big platform in the long run. So we're really right at the beginning of this movement. It's not that we're like all set, it's ready to be embraced everywhere. We can use this technology in our daily life and so on and so on. We're right at the beginning. It's still evolving. Like always, there's not a single technology which is good for every use case. There's also technology which fits for a specific use case. There's some ups, some downs, and you have to find out like which is the right use case you need to use or you want to use this technology for. There's some strengths, some weaknesses, some opportunities, some risks. What is the strength? Trust your protocol. You have some rules, you agree on them, that's it. You don't have to worry. Technology has some simple rules and it will follow these rules. The weakness maybe, what is right? I have told you, like, I will tell all of you that I want to send Sumit 50 euros. In the end, maybe if I want to check, like, if this is the right information, I can ask you, like, has Andreas really said that? Is this right? A and B amount X? And if you all say yes, then I can say, oh, well, okay, that's fine. But all of this is like you need a protocol. What is right? If you're 100 people, and 100 people are saying like, this is right, and another person is saying like, never heard that, nobody is knowing this person, So maybe it is right. But what about it when it's 50-50? Like when 50 people are saying this, 50 people are saying that. What is right then? When do you imagine, like, how often do they participate in this project, in this blockchain? How long have they participated? Maybe from where they're coming from. What are they doing with this? So it gets really, really complex, and there are really like a lot of aspects you need to think about in a combination for a big algorithm which defines what is right and how do you find out what is right, because it's supposed to be a protocol. It's easy. It's like you have a formula, it says this is right or not. 1 and 0. And opportunities also, like, it is distributed. Like all of this complete blockchain is distributed to all of you. You all have it. And this is what, because I can check, like, with you, do you all have the same information in this blockchain? Is this right or not? There's also not a central authority anymore in the middle which tells you, like, this is right. Because, like, in the end, to be honest, when you think about on your bank, you have an amount of money on your bank, like, but what if it's tomorrow 0? Like, only the bank has this information. So it's easy for us European countries maybe to rely on this information. But there are other countries where maybe you don't trust that much into the system. But when it's 0 tomorrow, what will you do? You say it was 0 yesterday, and you say no. Like, how do you know? What's also a big risk is the scalability. Like I told you, I will tell all of you that this transaction happened. You have this information with you all the time, but not only this, like all of the information, all the time. The complete blockchain, the complete, like, ledger. But this is like, how long is it working? Like, it gets, today it's fine, but what about in 10 years? If you have more and more transactions coming every day, how do you scale it? Like, you don't want to, it's an open question. With this, I don't want to tell you it's bad. I want to tell you, like, open your eyes, because, like, every technology has a perfect fit. And not every technology is right for each use case. But now, I mean, I have talked a lot about financial aspects, about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. But the thing is, to be honest, this is boring, because there's way more use cases out there. Everywhere, really everywhere. You can say, yeah, well, I want to talk only about financial aspects, about currencies, about Bitcoin, because it's interesting, people get rich. But this was just a door opener. If you look at this, like, we have use cases in life science, in production automotive, in telecommunication media, in energy and utilities, in trade and logistics, and even in public administrations. Like, for example, what if I tell you, like, you can vote with distributed ledger technologies. You can vote it with it. All of the, because this is like maybe a good example, because all of the information is free for anybody. Like, you can see there's some person has a vote for X person or party, and you can count it. You can count it. Was this the right amount of votes? And even you can see, like, how it is distributed. And you don't have to trust into a government that everything is working fine. Or maybe smart billing. Like, there was a use case, because I have solar panels on my roof of my house. I get 10 cents from my maybe energy utilizer here, but it costs me 20 cents. So what if I'm on holidays and I produce energy because the sun is shining a lot? I sell it automatically for 10 cents, but my neighbor pays from the same company I am selling to 20 cents. What if I was telling, well, I can sell you for 15 cents, but then this microtransaction needs to be automated. It needs to be free and open so that everybody knows it works fine. This can also be done with crypto, with distributed ledger technologies, for example. Or maybe fraud detection at customs. When a truck is driving throughout Europe, in the end, like, there's not 100% arriving the target. Like, can you somehow build something in the middle which scans it and you can track it and you can see in the end all of this information is open to anybody where it gets lost. Or open data. Like, I want to save open data that everybody knows this was the right open data, and I did not change it. With this, hopefully you'll find some important use cases for yourself. If you have questions, I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey. Thank you very much. We have a few questions. The first one is the energy used in the mining making blockchain unfeasible?
For Bitcoin, probably yes. I have heard that it was expected that in the next few years the energy consumption in mining is more than from the US. The US is using, like the complete US, only Bitcoin. This means this is also a topic about the scalability issues. Like, it gets complex with time. So yes, probably, but there are also some solutions. The technology is evolving, just like I told you. It's very new. Bitcoin was right at the beginning, but there's some way better technologies right there offering this.
We have Victor from Ukraine asking, which literature you can recommend to dive into the topic of blockchain?
I also like Google. No, to be completely honest, if you're new to it, go on YouTube. There are really some great YouTube videos on it. I just received from you a video where blockchain is described to 5 different people on 5 different layers of complexity. So you can really use this to dive into. You can find it on Twitter, I think.
Cool. Here's a personal question for you. Are you into cryptocurrencies?
That's a good question. I am hearing this a lot. No, I am not.
Oh, no.
Why is this so? I was thinking about last January 2017. It was, I think, nearly about 2,000 euros, really at the beginning. But in the end, it was getting worse. I'm not thinking that this might be the right thing, because it's really high. And this is why I also like not that much talking about financial topics or cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is only a very small part of all of these use cases. There are way more interesting use cases.
That actually takes us to the next question. Do you see blockchain being used without cryptocurrencies?
Yes and no. There are a lot of startups working on it. There are a lot of companies, also the big companies, experimenting with it. Is it used in production with the big ones? Not that much yet. This is also because it's a very immature technology, so it needs some time. There's also a lot of research going on, like what is right? Maybe we all don't know what is right in which context. So let's participate in this movement.
Cool. The final one also comes from Marcel here in the AIE. If you are able to vote with blockchain technologies, how do you make sure people vote unsupervised?
That's a good question. Like I told you, there's no use case like fitting in every situation. There's also always a specific use case fitting for a very specific setting. There are also always some ups and downs. This may be some down. You cannot guarantee it, maybe, but maybe you have some interesting ups. For example, you're from a minority, or you maybe in an evolving country, you're a woman, people don't let you in, don't let you vote, you're scared of voting, but maybe this gives you the possibility to vote at home via your smartphone. And this is a lot more beneficial points you'll take care of.
Okay. Final question. Oops, I messed up. Why regulation? This is from Jens in the AIE right now. Why regulation? The technology seems to solve the trust issues. So why does it need to be regulated?
Bad tongues say that the hype from Bitcoin is because people have formed themselves into clusters. have therefore set to this new peak, to this new high of the Bitcoin. So you can manipulate it if you work in groups. This is something very special about Bitcoins, because like it is also about money, about exchange rates. It's also in exchange with a lot of other currencies. So this maybe needs to be regulated. But maybe you have to set a few rules in this case. It's not always in each case, but maybe you have to think about it. It gives you new opportunities.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. So at this point of time, we would like to say goodbye to our online audience.
Yeah, thank you very much for participating. It was a pleasure to have you here. It was also a pleasure to have the online audience. Thank you very much. But the fun doesn't stop here. So let's wave goodbye to the online audience.
For Elizabeth!
And then let's give a big applause to this event, and then we...
I must also mention a big thank you to Constantine and our
the
team.
entire team. Yeah, maybe you can also come on stage, yeah, for all these efforts you
Well, some of them were here till midnight just to get the streaming set up, okay?
So at least welcome.
And there's also someone actually directing the stream from the office. That's Max, he's not here.
And Flo also, maybe also applause. Yeah.